What's up, y'all? Welcome back to ZayMoolaSportsPodcast. I'm your host, Isaiah. And today, I'm here to give y'all my Week 3 college football picks. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. I see a couple of comments. Good morning, that lady Tamika. How you doing? Good morning, John. How you doing, man? Good to see y'all on here. This morning, I know it's super early, but I told y'all last night that I was probably going to come on here, to give y'all my college football picks, and I'm on here to do that. So let's get into it, y'all. All right. First up, we have the Memphis Tigers going on the road to take on Florida State. And y'all, this is a very interesting game, man, because Florida State right now looks like one of the worst offenses in college football, y'all. I mean, DJ Uiagalelei, man, he's really, really been struggling, y'all. And Florida State has not been able to run the ball officially at all. In their last game, y'all, against Boston College, man, I mean, they gave up almost 300 yards almost 300 rushing yards against Boston College, which was horrible because Florida State, they're supposed to have one of the best defensive lines in the country. So I've been very, very disappointed by Florida State in terms of their defensive and offensive line because they were supposed to be the strength of their team. But so far, y'all, they've been getting bullied in the trenches. And so I like Memphis, y'all, to go on the road and get a big time win, man. I really like the Tigers, y'all. They have one of the best offenses in the nation. They're averaging 39 points per game, man. I like their quarterback, Seth Hennigan. He's thrown for 469 yards so far during their first two games, 3 touchdowns, y'all. I also like their running back, Mario Anderson Jr. He's rushed for almost 200 yards and 4 touchdowns through their first two games. So I just really love where the Tigers are, y'all, and I don't love where the Florida State Seminoles are right now. I don't think Florida State's going to be able to score a lot of points. Y'all see, I only had them scoring 16 points, but I had Memphis scoring 27 points, y'all, and winning this game by 11. All right, next up, we have at the Alabama Crimson Tide, y'all, going on the road to take on Wisconsin. And, y'all, Wisconsin, wow, this is a team that I thought could be a decent team in the Big Ten, y'all. But right now, they look like the Wisconsin of last year, right? Because their first two games, they really struggled, y'all, to generate explosive passing plays. And this is the same problem, that they had last season, generating explosive plays in the passing game, y'all. They're relying so much on their running game. Their quarterback, Tyler Van Dyke, if that name sounds familiar to y'all, it's because he used to play for the University of Miami, y'all, the Hurricanes. And so far, Tyler Van Dyke, he's looking like his normal self, y'all, which is being very inaccurate, not making good decisions, and not being able to push the ball down the football field. And so I think for Wisconsin, they're in a major disadvantage. You're going against the Alabama team that's really great defensively, y'all. Then we know Alabama can create explosive plays, man. That freshman that they have, y'all, Ryan Williams, a wide receiver. That dude's only 17 years old. He's already one of the best receivers in football, man. He has 270 yards and 3 touchdowns through 2 games. So I just think Alabama is going to dominate Wisconsin. I have to win this game 30-13. Again, y'all, this is just a really, really, really terrible matchup for Wisconsin because Alabama is just too explosive, too dynamic offensively for Wisconsin to be able to keep up in that game. All right, next up, y'all, we have number 24 Boston College on the road to take on number 6 Missouri, y'all. And y'all know I'm really, really high on Missouri, man. I have them making the college football playoffs, and I think a lot of people are starting to overrate Boston College. Listen, Boston College, yes, they had a very, very, very impressive win. Don't get me wrong, very impressive win against Florida State on the road, y'all. But Missouri is a different team than Florida State, y'all, because Florida State is a team that's very limited offensively. Whereas Missouri, y'all, they have weapons for days, man, led by their quarterback, Brady Cook. I mean, look at all the receivers. They got Luther Burden, who I believe is the best receiver in college football, man, but Theo Weiss Jr., y'all, Joshua Manning. I mean, they just got a lot of weapons on this offense. And then at running back, man, they got Marcus Carroll and Nate Noel. So I really, really love what Missouri has, y'all, in terms of the plethora of weapons that they have offensively. Boston College loves to run the football. So they're going to try to really slow this game down. down. They're going to try to keep Missouri's offense, on the sideline as long as they possibly can, y'all. But Missouri has a really good defense, particularly secondary and defensive line. So I just think in the end, Missouri, y'all, they're going to pull away late. I do expect this game to kind of start out early, but I think in the end, Missouri, again, they're going to pull away late. I had to win this game 37-20. I know some people, for whatever reason, think this game is going to kind of be close, but y'all, again, I just don't think Boston College is going to be able to slow down all the playmakers that Missouri has offensively, and I think Missouri will be able to stop Boston College running game, because, again, that's really what Boston College does. They love to beat you up at the line of scrimmage, just run the football down your throat, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it this game. Give me Missouri, y'all, 37-20. All right, next up, we have the LSU Tigers, y'all, going on the road. The number 16 LSU Tigers, going on the road to take on South Carolina. And we know South Carolina's coming off a really big victory last week against Kentucky, y'all, in the game that I thought Kentucky was going to win. So I was very surprised that South Carolina won. And not only did South Carolina win that game, man, but they dominated Kentucky, y'all. Their quarterback, Lenore Sellers, he didn't play particularly well. And that's kind of the thing that's been getting me about South Carolina is their offense, y'all, looks pretty bad right now. I mean, they're only averaging 140 yards of offense through the air, y'all. Their quarterback, Lenore Sellers, I know he's a freshman. He's only completing 56.4% of his passes, and they're only averaging 270 total yards of offense per game right now. But yet they're 2-0. Remember, week 1, they barely beat Old Dominion, y'all. So I don't think this South Carolina team is that, particularly impressive. I know some people think they're going to be able to pull off this upset, y'all, but I think LSU with Garrett Nusserman at quarterback, y'all, I think LSU has a little bit too many weapons for them to keep up. Kyron Lacey and Aaron Anderson at the wide receiver position, y'all. So I like LSU to win this game 31-20. I could see South Carolina, honestly, being ahead maybe by like 3 or 4 points at halftime, because I could see LSU maybe just not taking them seriously, y'all. But in the second half, though, LSU is going to pull away. Their offense is going to show, and South Carolina's not going to be able to score enough points to be able to try to keep up with the LSU Tigers, y'all. So, again, I got LSU winning that game 31-20. All right, next up, we have number 9, Oregon, taking on Oregon State, y'all, on the road. And I'm not going to lie, Oregon right now, y'all, looks overrated. We know Oregon, the week 1, they struggled against Idaho, y'all. Like, let's be honest, Idaho, they're not a very good team. And then last week, they barely beat a good Boise State team. I will add that. But they barely beat them. Only beat them by 3 points, y'all. And gave up over 200 yards of rushing offense to Boise State. So, I'm kind of getting concerned about Oregon, y'all, in terms of their offense and defensive line, right? Kind of similar to Florida State. Because Oregon, they're known for being very physical at the line of scrimmage, but so far, y'all, they have not shown that. And so I'm just starting to get concerned that Oregon is not going to be able to run the football effectively, nor will they be able to stop the run effectively the way they've been playing so far. But, y'all, people still got to remember, Oregon has a lot of talent, okay? They have a lot of talent at the skill positions. And I think, people are kind of overrating Oregon State just a little bit, y'all. Oregon State, hey, they had a solid win last week against San Diego State, y'all. But, their quarterback, they're not throwing the ball a lot. They've only, thrown for 274 yards, between 2 games, which is very, very low. That's only 137 passing yards per game. Now, I love their running backs, Jam Griffin and Anthony Hankerson, y'all. So, Oregon State, they're going to run the football. Kind of like what I was saying about Boston College. Oregon State's going to run the football. You got to, when you're a team that's not really explosive, dynamic on offense through the air, y'all, you have to run the football to try to have more possessions than your opponent. But I think Oregon, y'all, their defense at some point is going to have to show up. I know their defense looked really bad last week against Boise State, but I think this is the week, man. Oregon has been hearing a lot of people talk negatively about them. I think Dan Lennon, he has those boys ready to go. And again, I like Oregon, y'all, to win this game big, win it 34-17 against Oregon State. All right, next up, we have the backyard brawl, y'all. So we have West Virginia going on the road to take on Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh is coming off a tremendous victory last week against Cincinnati, y'all. If y'all watch my week 2 college football picks video, I actually picked Pittsburgh to go to Cincinnati and upset them, and that's exactly what they did, y'all. I really, really, really like Pittsburgh this year. I'm not going to lie to you, man. Their quarterback, y'all, their freshman quarterback, Eli Holston, man, that dude has been throwing that football all over the field, y'all. But I really think it's their running back, Desmond Reed, and we know what he did last year. I think he had nearly 1,500 yards, y'all, but I didn't know he was going to be able to replicate that. But my goodness, man, he's done that and did something. Right now, he would probably be on pace for like down near 1,900 yards because, he's rushed for
293 yards during their first two games, y'all. And I think Pittsburgh is a very, very underrated team, man, in terms of how they control the line of scrimmage against their opponents, man. I don't think a lot of people expect this. A lot of people expected Pittsburgh to be a finesse team this year because they do have, their new freshman quarterback, y'all. But I knew they were still going to be a power team because that's just what Pittsburgh has been. Even when they had Kenny Pickett back in 2021, Pittsburgh still was able to run the football. They're able to do it, y'all. And they're going against a West Virginia team. We know what West Virginia did week one against Penn State, man, when they, dropped the ball. A lot of people thought West Virginia was going to upset Penn State. I was not one of those people. But, y'all, I'm really having a hard time of figuring out what this West Virginia team is, man. I mean, because they struggle to throw the football, y'all. They can run the football, right? But they really, really, really struggle to throw the football. And this is really the same problems they had last year. Now, fortunately for West Virginia last year, they were able to get away with it because they had a kind of a soft schedule. This year, y'all, their schedule was much harder. And I think, yes, this is a rivalry game, y'all. And I know they're favored. Y'all see West Virginia's favored by 2.5 points. But I'm taking Pittsburgh, y'all, and Desmond Reed, that running game that they have. I like Pittsburgh to upset West Virginia, win this game 38-35. All right, y'all, moving on. We have the Apple Cup games. We have Washington State going on the road to take on Washington. And this is a very interesting game. With these rivalry games, y'all heard, I was just talking about the backyard brawl. With these rivalry games, they truly can go either way because sometimes a team can be favored to win the game, or sometimes you can just think a team is, definitively better than their opponent. But then because it's a rivalry game, strange things happen, y'all. And I think this is one of these games, where Washington State has a legitimate shot of beating Washington, man. I know Washington is favored by 5.5 points, y'all, but I'm telling you, man, Washington State has really, really impressed me offensively so far. Now, their defense is horrible, especially their secondary. Their secondary is god-awful. But their offense, y'all, we keep talking about these freshman quarterbacks. Well, Washington State has a pretty good freshman quarterback, y'all. John Mateer, man, he's really, really been very, very accurate, y'all, with the football. I mean, he's only thrown 16 incompletions, through 2 games, which is pretty good. He's thrown for 6 touchdowns, y'all. And then this man is a legitimate beast in that backfield, y'all. When he's able to run the football, man, he's ran for over 250 yards, y'all, and also has 2 touchdowns on the ground. So you talking about so far through 2 games, he has 8 total touchdowns. That's amazing. But, y'all, I think Washington, they're the more experienced team. They're at home. And I think because Washington State has such a bad secondary, y'all, and all the weapons that Washington possesses offensively, then it helps that Washington also has a very veteran quarterback, y'all, and Will Rogers. I mean, Will Rogers seems like he's been playing college football for like 5, 6, 7 years now, seriously. I have to give the advantage to Washington. But, again, I would not be shocked at all if Washington State pulls off the upset when you consider this is a rivalry game. And then Washington State, I mean, they really can score. I just don't think their secondary, y'all, is going to be able to slow down Washington. And I have Washington winning this game 34-27. All right, y'all, next up, we have number 18, Notre Dame, taking on Purdue. And my goodness, man, I mean, Notre Dame, talk about just blowing a major opportunity last week against, Northern Illinois, y'all, a game that they should have won by like probably 20 to 28 points. Instead, they lose by 2, y'all, and only have 286 total yards of offense. I mean, my goodness, man, are you serious? It was really that bad, y'all, for Notre Dame. I have zero confidence in Notre Dame's offense. Zero, y'all. Because through 2 weeks, they've looked horrible. Riley Leonard, man, he can barely throw the football. And I know he's dealing with, I think, a wrist injury. But, y'all, even before he got injured, I mean, Riley Leonard's been awful. He's been awful. Like, Notre Dame has not even thrown for a passing touchdown yet. That makes zero sense. Now, granted, I know week 1 they were going against Texas A&M, but last week, man, you had a huge opportunity, right, to really get your offense going, get your passing game going against an inferior opponent, and instead you dropped the ball, y'all, at home. That's another thing. They were playing at home. Now, if they were playing in Northern Illinois, okay, maybe. But even then, even if that was a road game, like, you should take care of business against an inferior opponent. Instead, they did not do that, y'all, and they lost this game. And so because of that, I only have Notre Dame winning this game by 7. I had to win it 23-16 against Purdue. We know Purdue, that first game, they blew out Indiana State. That's Indiana State. They're not a very good football team. So there's not much I could take from that game. I will just say that Hudson Card, he looked very good that game. He had 4 touchdowns, again, a couple of weeks ago against Indiana State. But Can I really give Purdue a lot of credit for, blowing out Indiana State? Not really. But I do think they will hang around in this game, y'all, because Notre Dame's offense is just so pathetic. It's so pathetic. I mean, again, y'all, Notre Dame has not even thrown for a single passing touchdown yet, which is ridiculous. Because how in the world, through 2 games, y'all, you're Notre Dame. You're Notre Dame. You're supposedly one of the best teams in the country, and you can't even throw a single passing touchdown? That's god awful, y'all. But I think because Notre Dame has a very strong defense, man. I mean, I love Notre Dame's secondary, man. Benjamin Morrison, Jaden Mickey, y'all, Leonard Moore. I really, really love Notre Dame's secondary. So I think their secondary is probably going to get a couple of interceptions, on Hudson Card, and that's going to help them win this game. But I'll tell you, Notre Dame's offense is god awful, y'all. They might have, especially in terms of elite college football teams, Notre Dame probably has the worst offense, y'all. So I don't trust them at all, but I just think they're a better team than Purdue. They have a better defense, and their defense is going to lead them to victory. All right, y'all, next up, we have Tulane going on the road to take on number 15 Oklahoma. And y'all, man, Oklahoma, I mean, last week, only won by 4 points against a really bad Houston team at home. Oh, y'all, I'm starting to worry about Oklahoma because they look like they have the same problems that they had last year, okay? So far, y'all, Oklahoma, their passing offense has been pretty average. Now, their quarterback, Jackson Arnold, he has thrown for 6 touchdowns, y'all, but he's only thrown for 315 yards, meaning what? That he's dinking and dunking. He's not really pushing the ball down the field. I don't really love their wide receiver core, y'all. I don't think none of their wide receivers can really get open like on a consistent basis. And then they haven't been really able to run the football that well. So I just think their passing offense has been, average. I wouldn't say it's been horrible because at least they've thrown for 6 passing touchdowns, but it's definitely been average. And then that run game, y'all, has basically been non-existent. So, again, this looks like the same Oklahoma team from last year in terms of not being able to do a lot on the ground game. Now, last year they did have a better passing offense, passing offense because they did have Dylan Gabriel at quarterback, y'all. But again, just looks like the same Oklahoma team to me, and they're going against a Tulane team, y'all. And I think this is a really bad matchup for Oklahoma. Now, I have them winning this game 32-24, which is going to be closer to what some people are expecting me. Y'all, I'm telling you, Tulane last week almost pulled off a big upset against Kansas State. If y'all watch my college football week 2 picks video last week, you will see in that video I had Kansas State winning that game, but I said it was gonna be a very close game, y'all, because Tulane, man, I mean the offense that they run, it is like high power, y'all. It's like air raid, but with power zone, right? Because they can really run the football, man. I like that quarterback, Darian Missa. And then what's so crazy is y'all remember Mario Williams? Well, now he's playing for Tulane. He used to go to Oklahoma when Lincoln Riley was still the head coach. So I think Mario Williams is going to have a huge game against his former team. But I think, y'all, in the end, because Oklahoma is at home and because they have a little bit more experience than Tulane does and because of that home field advantage, I think they're going to be able to escape with an 8-point victory against Tulane. But I'm telling y'all right now, this is going to be a very, very, very interesting game. And don't be surprised if Tulane just outright upsets Oklahoma because, man, if Oklahoma really cannot get things going in the ground game, if they really cannot get that passing game going a little bit more as well, Tulane, y'all, with all the playmakers that they have, but again, especially Mario Williams, considering that he used to go to Oklahoma and he's going to want to show up his former team, they could really be in some big trouble, but I have them winning this game. All right, y'all, next up, we have Texas A&M going on the road to take on Florida, y'all. And this is a game where both team starting quarterbacks are coming in this game a little banged up. Connor Weidman, y'all, he has an upper body injury. And then we know Graham Mertz a couple of weeks ago against Miami, he sustained a concussion injury, but now he's back, y'all. And so both teams, their starting quarterbacks are a little banged up. But y'all, let's be honest, like even when they're fully healthy, both of these teams try to run the football, y'all. And I think this game is really gonna come down to Texas A&M's defensive line versus Florida's offensive line because so far, y'all, Texas A&M defensive line has really, really, really disappointed me, man. This is supposedly supposed to be one of the best D lines in the nation. They only have 1 sack. They're not generating a lot of pressure at all. But I think they have a really, really great opportunity, y'all, against Florida, whose offensive line is kind of shaky. I mean, we saw week 1, Miami was really getting pressure to Graham Mertz. That's why he ended up getting injured because they just kept, attacking him and going after him. So if Texas A&M can generate pressure on Graham Mertz, y'all, and maybe, force a turnover or two. I think that could really help out their offense and give their offense a short fields to go down the field and try to score a touchdown. Because we know Texas A&M, man, they have a very, very limited offense, y'all. They cannot throw the football down the field at all. So I'm not expecting a lot of scoring in this game. It's going to be a very defensive-minded game. But I like Texas A&M because I think they're a little bit better than Florida, y'all. And I do like their head coach, Mike Elko, more than I like Billy Napier. Let me say this about Billy Napier. If Florida loses this game, y'all, I think Billy Napier, there's a chance he could lose his job tonight, seriously. And the reason I say this is because Florida fans are very, very, very impatient, y'all. We know Florida has been on as being one of the best programs in college football, right? And they're ready for results. And it seems like it seems like, y'all, they're probably going to have another season that they've had the first 2 years under him, where they win like 5-6 games, where they're not bad, but they're just like a pretty average, average / mediocre football team. I think, Florida fans, they're expecting more. So again, if Florida loses this game, I think Billy Napier could lose his job tonight. Seriously, I know this sounds harsh, but if y'all seen his first couple years of Florida, man, they've had some very, very, very bad moments under his helm. So this is a huge game for him, y'all. But in the end, I have A&M winning this game by 4. All right, next up, y'all, we move into our night slate of games. As we have number 1 Georgia taking on Kentucky. I'm not going to waste too much of y'all's time talking about this game. We know Georgia is the best team in the country, y'all. They're just so dominant. And Kentucky, that was one of the worst losses, y'all, that they've had under Mark Stoops. I mean, how in the world do you lose at home against a South Carolina team? Let's be honest, y'all. South Carolina is only decent. Like, they're only decent. Listen, I know today is a great day, to be a South Carolina Gamecocks fan. Man, college game day is there, right? You have a big opportunity against LSU today, y'all. But let's be honest, South Carolina's only a decent team. And, they're only a decent team. And Kentucky lost to them last week, y'all. Not only lost them, they got dominated, man. South Carolina won 31-6, y'all, in a game where Kentucky could not do anything offensively against, a pretty mediocre South Carolina defense. And so I just think Georgia's going to dominate this game from start to finish. I have to win this game 34-10 again. Like I said, I was going to bore y'all. We know Georgia's a much better team. Kentucky, after that loss last week, I feel like they should have fired Mark Stoops, y'all. Mark Stoops, I think, is a good head coach, but that was an inexcusable loss. They should have fired him last week. There's no way you lose at home against an average team like that. But anyways, he's going to get dominated by a really good team on today. All right, y'all, next up we have Indiana taking on UCLA, y'all. And I like this Indiana team. Now, I know, granted, their first, couple of opponents, y'all, have been FCS schools, but I really love the way they play, y'all. They play with a physicality and an aggressiveness that I haven't seen from an Indiana team in a long time. Man, they got 3 running backs, y'all, that already have over 100 yards through their first 2 games, man, led by Justice Ellison, y'all. He's averaging nearly 10 yards per carry. I mean, that is insane. Their quarterback, Curtis Roke, he's been very solid, man. 3 touchdowns through their first 2 games, 448 yards through their first 2 games as well. So he's making good decisions, y'all. And UCLA, obviously, we know UCLA has a new head coach, Deshaun Foster. And in that first game against Hawaii, man, they look really, 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 really bad, y'all. Like, really bad. Right? They won the game 16-13. I thought UCLA was going to be a little bit more dynamic offensively. And I know it was just one game, but I mean, Hawaii is not a good football team. So they should have won that game, in my opinion, more comfortably than they did, y'all. But I like Indiana to get this victory on the road, man, 27-21. I just trust their team right now a little bit more. I trust their offense way more than UCLA, y'all. And I just think UCLA, this is going to be a trying year for them. I just don't think UCLA is even ready to be a decent team right now. I just think they got too many holes on their roster. So I like Indiana, y'all, to get this victory, man. Can you believe Indiana has a chance to start 3-0? Again, I know 2 of those wins would come against FCS schools, but still, I did not think Indiana would, even have the potential to be 3-0 after 3 games. All right, y'all, next up, we have Colorado taking on Colorado State. And we remember that this was, probably one of the best games in the college football season last year, man, as this game went into overtime, y'all, and Colorado was able to pull out an 8-point victory, 43-35 against Colorado State, y'all. Well, this year, I don't think it's going to be I don't think this game is going to go into overtime, y'all, because I don't think Colorado State's the same team that they are last year. Last year, they were very explosive offensively, y'all. So far through their 2 games, they've been pretty, mediocre. Now, granted, they did play against Texas week 1, y'all, so, Texas is one of the best teams in the nation. But even that game, I thought they were going to be able to score like 17 points. They didn't even score at all. Y'all remember last year, that wide receiver, Torrey Horton, he had over 140 yards, y'all. But remember, Travis Hunter got injured during that game. Now that Travis is back, he's healthy. and hopefully he will be available for the entire duration of this game, y'all. I think he's gonna be able to lock down Torrey Horton. I just think Colorado, I mean, we know the playmakers that they have. Now, listen, last week was a very bad game. I did predict them to lose that game, but I didn't think they were going to get blown out, y'all. They really have major problems on both sides of their lines, y'all. The O-line and D-line. This was both, remember, we were told that their O-line and D-line were going to be much better. Well, so far, I have not seen it, y'all. I mean, Shador, like last week, I mean, it seemed like every single time Colorado was trying to throw the ball, man, he just kept getting hit, kept getting pressure in his face, y'all. But I think tonight, easier opponent, he's not got to worry about that. Still think it's going to be a relatively close game because I don't trust Colorado's defense, but I think they're going to win this game 37-28. Y'all think Jimmy Horn and Travis Hunter had big games, and Shador goes back to looking like his usual self, man, probably throwing for like 350 yards and like 3 or 4 touchdowns. All right, y'all, and next up we have UCF taking on TCU, man. UCF, going on the road to take on TCU, y'all. This is a battle of two 2-0 teams, y'all, in the Big 12. So this is a very important game, y'all. And when you look at TCU, last year TCU obviously had the disappointing season considering, they made it all the way to the college football championship game back in 2022. But this year, y'all, I think TCU has some revenge on their mind. They're trying to show people why they are still a really solid team, man. And now, y'all, they have a new commander-in-chief of quarterback, Josh Hoover, who's looked very great. So far through 2 games, man. He's averaging nearly 300 yards passing. He has 4 touchdowns in their first 2 games, y'all. And now, they haven't really ran the ball, that much. I mean, Cam Cook, has 139 yards. But, you kind of used to TCU running football a little bit more. But this year, y'all, they're really, really throwing the football so far. And you look at UCF, man, and, UCF, KJ Jefferson, y'all, their quarterback, I don't trust him on the road, which I'm expecting this to be a hostile environment. Again, I mean, this is a huge game. 2-0 teams. And so I think that TCU, man, their home crowd, y'all, is going to be rocking. I really love UCF's running back, though, R.J. Harvey, y'all. I mean, he's averaging nearly 9 yards per carry. He already has 6 touchdowns through 2 games, which is insane. So expect UCF to run the football early and often, y'all. But at some point in time, they're going to have to throw the football to keep over TCU because TCU, again, I just told y'all, they've been throwing the football a lot more than what they've usually done in the past, y'all. Normally, they've had some kind of balance, but this year, they're just throwing the football, which I understand because, again, their quarterback, Josh Hoover, he's playing very well. So I would keep throwing the football if I were them, too. But I just think TCU, y'all, again, close game, had to win this game 34-31. I just think in the end, KJ Jefferson's probably going to throw like a late game interception. It's going to secure the win for TCU, y'all. And then last but not least, we got Maryland going on the road to take on Virginia, y'all. And I think this is going to be a very fun game. Virginia, has a lot of confidence right now. They're coming off a big win on the road against Wake Forest. And now they're at home, y'all. Virginia is 2-0. I think this is the first time they've been 2-0 since like 2018 or 19. So, their fans are going to be rocking. This is a primetime game, right? 7 p.m. kickoff. And they're going against a Maryland team, that is coming off a very disappointing loss last week at home against Michigan State. A game they definitely should have won, y'all. But I think Maryland made too many mistakes, and they gave up way too many yards through the air on defense. Now, when I look at this Maryland team, I like their quarterback, Billy Edwards, y'all. I think he's very accurate with the football. He makes really smart decisions. He doesn't really force the ball into tight windows, y'all. I love their running backs that they have. I feel like Maryland has one of the deepest running back rooms in the nation, man. Roman Hemby, Nolan Ray, and Kobe McDonald, all those guys can kill you on the ground, y'all. And then Todd Felton, man, that wide receiver, I mean, he has 330 receiving yards so far. That's leading the FBS, and he also has 3 touchdowns as well. And so when I look at Maryland, y'all, this game is going to come down to can their secondary make enough plays against Virginia? Because, man, Maryland, I mean, their secondary right now is really struggling, y'all. They even kind of struggled against UConn. We know UConn's not a very good football team at all. Now, I will say this, Maryland, in their defense, they have a lot of young guys in their secondary, but, man, they're going to have to show up, y'all, show up in a major way because they have a really great challenge on tonight going against Virginia wide receiver Malachi Fields, man. He has 248 yards through 2 games, y'all. He's very dynamic. If y'all don't know him, check him out on tonight because I think he's going to have a big day, big night, I should say. But, y'all, I have Maryland though, winning this game 33-30. Because I trust Maryland more than I trust Virginia. Even though Maryland is coming off, disappointing loss last week, I just feel like, y'all, their head coach, Mike Locksley, I think he really, really lit a fire under them this week, and I think Maryland's going to be ready to go. They understand this is a really, really big game, y'all, because if Maryland loses this game and starts out 1-2, I mean, at that point, Mike Locksley, I mean, he would probably be on the hot seat, right? Because I know a lot of people, including myself, thought Maryland, this was a year they could kind of compete in the Big Ten. But if you start out 1-2, well, chance of you compete in the Big Ten is probably going out the window. So they realize it's a monster game for them. And I think, y'all, they're going to respond after a disappointing loss last week against Michigan State and win this game against Virginia 33-30. So there y'all have it, man. That was my week 3 college football picks, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this little Saturday morning edition. Yeah, I appreciate everyone that came on here. Good morning, Zay. Good morning, Nikki T. Again, appreciate everyone that came on here. I know this is super early, but obviously I had to come on here early, y'all, to give y'all my picks before these games took place and got going. But again, just want to say thank you to everyone that came on here this morning. Man, I hope y'all have a good rest of your day. Watch hopefully some really good college football games. Then tomorrow we got NFL, y'all, week 2. Hopefully my Tennessee Titans, we get it done against the New York Jets. And hopefully your favorite team wins too. Remember, y'all, laughter is good medicine, so make sure you get your daily dose. Y'all know I'm in it, man. I love y'all. God bless. Peace.